The puzzle. Weeks had passed after the accident at the bridge. The pups spent that time going on with their missions, helping Sky and Rubble recover. Sky only had a concussion, but parts of Rubble's fur had been charred and fell off. Katie had to shave his fur, much to his embarrassment. Rocky and Ryder designed a full uniform for him to keep him warm. Ryder and Katie couldn't figure out if anything was wrong with him. Every test came back normal. They concluded it had to be something psychological, something that had traumatized him in the months prior to his adoption. Rocky became Redpaw's best friend. They were often seen with each other, playing or just talking. Rubble's still hurt pretty bad. Rocky frowned as he stared at the sunrise. Have you ever been burned before? Redpaw shook his head. That's good. It hurts like AB. Rocky looked down at the wolf who stared at him curiously. It hurts a lot, he corrected himself. 6. Wow, really? Redpaw didn't really understand. He often wondered what it was like to be near a fire. I don't like fire. Funny, 'cause I don't like water. Redpaw chuckled, then yawned. Come on, buddy. He stood, shaking his fur. It's still a bit early. Okay, he replied. He started following the mixed breed, but as he did, he grew uncomfortable. Actually, Redpaw blushed, looking down at his paws. Need to go? Rocky whispered. Redpaw nodded. He chuckled and said, come on, I'll show you the best spot in all the forest. Giggling, the little wolf followed. 1. BRR. Redpaw shivered. He buried the evidence and trotted down to the stream to wash his paws. Rocky, he called out. Rocky? Where are you? He couldn't smell the mixed breed scent anywhere. Redpaw began to feel lightheaded. He raised a paw to his head, only to find it glowing. He remembered what had happened the day before, with Sky and Rubble. Not good. He mumbled. Boo! Rocky yelled, appearing from a bush. Redpaw squealed, falling into the stream. He poked his head out of the water, glaring at the now laughing Rocky. As he climbed out of the water, he bared his teeth, unsheathing his claws. What's happening? He walked over to Rocky, a low growl leaving his muzzle. Rocky contained his laughter and opened his eyes. He saw Redpaw, but he looked different. His eyes were glowing. Our Redpaw? He let out a deep growl, nothing that Rocky had ever heard before. Redpaw, stop it. Rocky started backing away. Redpaw raised his left paw, unsheathing his claws, and was ready to strike Rocky when the red glow left his eyes and paws. While the wolf pup collapsed to the ground, shivering uncontrollably. Rocky walked up to him cautiously, sniffing him. What the heck was that? He asked out loud. Redpaw didn't respond, only shivered. His eyes were shut tight. Hesitantly, Rocky bit down on his scruff, taking the pup back to Katie's. What happened? Ryder said upon seeing them. He picked up Redpaw, rushing inside. We went out for a walk and I scared him. It was a only joke, honest. He fell into the stream and got wet. Then, he got real mad. His eyes were glowing and it looked like he was going to attack me. Calm down, dude, Zuma said. Did you say he tried to attack you? Yeah, it was so weird. 1 minute he was fine, the next he was angry with me. Next thing I know, he collapses in front of me. Rocky looked up to Ryder. I'm really sorry for scaring him, he whimpered. I know you are, pup, Ryder said, wrapping him up in a towel. Marshall. You know what to do. He shut the door, giving them privacy. If Marshall needed help, he'd call Katie. I'm sure he's fine. Now, you said his eyes were glowing? You'll also like to. Yeah. Yeah. Like his paws. And he growled real deep. Deeper than Chase. Every pup looked towards the shepherd. He turned his head. Do your growl. Planting his paws firmly on the carpet, his throat rumbled. Rubble, who had still been asleep, whined a bit at the noise. Like that? Chase whispered. It was deeper, Rocky confirmed. Much deeper. Well, Zuma said, scratching his ear. The little dude is a wolf. Pups, Ryder said. It's still a bit early. Why don't you all go back to sleep? They nodded, headed back over to the fireplace. Ryder walked up to Rubble's bed, stroking his head. Back to sleep, pup. Rubble nuzzled his hand, happily falling back asleep. Ryder? Marshall said. He motioned for him to follow. Sleep well, pup. He stood up and walked over to one of the examination rooms. Redpaw lay on the table, still wrapped in a towel. Is he okay? That's the thing, he's fine. I've done x-rays, I've taken blood. There's nothing wrong with him. I may have an idea. Ryder. Continue to next part. Stigation. Ryder sighed. I guess. But what about Redpaw? He can stay home for a day. He's more than old enough. I think. X-rays, I've taken blood. There's nothing wrong with him. I may have an idea. Ryder pulled out his phone, typing something out. He shut the door behind them. See this? He showed her a photo of an old medical facility in the States. My father worked here before he died. He was a scientist. You never told us that, Marshall said, jumping onto the counter. What does that have to dash? The company he worked for experimented on live animals, he whispered. He hated it, but he did it for us. He always told me to respect animals, to care for them. He hated his job so much. Ryder, you're not saying dash. The factory closed down last year. How old do you think Redpaw is? Marshall looked at the wolf pup. A year old, maybe a little more. You don't think he dash? I can't say for sure, but we should definitely find out. They watched the small pup as he began to stir. He's healthy, you say? Marshall nodded. Ryder stood and picked Redpaw up, carrying him out of the room. He's perfect, a deep voice said. Make sure he stays sedated. A red glow filled his vision. What's going on, Redpaw thought. What is this place? This will be the greatest scientific breakthrough known to mankind. Did it really need to be a wolf, though? Another voice said. It sounded young, almost like a child. Well, the animal shelter wouldn't let us adopt, now would they? This is the next best thing. But its poor mother. Redpaw felt someone stroke his fur. She was crying dash. That's enough. Go, I have other, more important plans for this pup. The soft touch of the boy's hand left Redpaw's head. Arf. Redpaw sat up, desperately looking around. Ryder jumped at the sound. Hey, Redpaw, it's okay. You're okay. He held him close. Bad dream? I don't know what that was, Redpaw said, trembling in Ryder's arms. He noticed his paws dimming. Was I glowing? Your paws were, yeah. Ryder didn't have the heart to tell him what he thought was true. What happened this morning, with Rocky? I had to go and he took me out. Then Redpaw froze, turning his head. I woke up. Did he scare you? Ryder asked. Did you fall into a stream? Why yeah, but then I climbed out and he looked up at Ryder's face. I woke up here. His ears folded back. Is that bad? Ryder was puzzled. Who did this and what did they do to you? Shaking his head, he smiled. Are you hungry? Ryder asked. He needed to distract him, not have him concerned or worried. Katie made lunch. Yeah, I skipped breakfast. He felt Redpaw's tail wag underneath him. Ryder chuckled. Then I bet you're starving. Redpaw hopped to the ground, trotting over to his food bowl. Ryder watched him with wonder. Who could have done this? They must have worked with Dad. I'll have Rocky work on it. I know the pups can keep a secret. As Rubble kept healing, everything began returning to normal around Adventure Bay. His fur even started to grow back. Mayor Goodway wasn't happy that the bridge hadn't been completed, but was glad the PAW patrol was safe. The pups returned to their normal duties, helping with missions and around the lookout. The mysterious glowing continued, usually happening during the night. Redpaw would wake up whining and trembling, unable to explain his nightmares. The pups would take turns sleeping outside his pup house, keeping him safe. Ryder and the pups, along with Katie, continued to put in hours of countless research into the company Ryder's dad worked for, but they found nothing. Maybe we should head up there and check it out? Katie offered. I don't know. It could be dangerous. Do I really want to risk the pups' lives on a hunch, he thought. Ryder, you've got 6 highly trained pups, plus a medical professional. I'm sure we can handle a little investigation. Ryder sighed. I guess. But what about Redpaw? He can stay home for a day. He's more than old enough. I think. I guess you're right. A few days later, they were ready to go. Redpaw was excited to stay home alone. Maybe I can explore the island some more. His tail wagged as he helped Ryder and the pups pack the PAW patroller. Your food is in the kitchen, Ryder told him. He reached down, activating Redpaw's collar. Call me if you need anything. Katie's coming with us too, so if you need someone here, call Mayor Goodway or Jake. I can see if Everest wants to play with you, Marshall suggested. I'm sure she'll say yes. Redpaw thought for a bit. It would be nice to go exploring with someone. I haven't really talked to Everest much since I got here. Okay, sounds good. When are you leaving? He asked anxiously. Got something you want to do, pup? Ryder chuckled. He ruffled his fur. We'll miss you. Just be safe, okay? When Everest gets here, do what she says. You got it, he barked. Katie, Ryder, and the pups boarded the PAW patroller and rolled down the driveway. As soon as they were out of sight, Redpaw howled happily. I'm free. I'm free. He ran down the driveway and across the bridge. He was still too young to have his own vehicle, but he didn't care. The energetic little wolf loved to run. When he made it to town, his collar began beeping. Hello? Hey, Redpaw. It was Everest. I just got to the lookout. Where are you? I'm in town. If you want to meet, I'll be at Mr. Porter's. Are you allowed to wander off by yourself? Everest chided. He whined, but she chuckled. It's all right. Just stay there, okay? Okay, Everest. See you when you get here. He trotted down the street towards Mr. Porter's. A few residents greeted him along the way. Continue to next part. G okay? T.S. E had only ever been alone when he lived on the streets. He had lived in fear of getting caught stealing, but now he needn't worry. Looking down at his collar, he smiled, knowing as long as he had it, he was safe. The first thing he noticed at Mr. Porter's was that his truck was gone. He must not be here. Darn. I was hoping to get a treat or two. Lying down on the pavement, he decided to sunbathe. He thought about what Ryder and the pups were doing. He mentioned something about an investigation. I wonder whether his thoughts were interrupted by a head rush. He felt lightheaded and groaned. No, not again. With his eyes shut, the world fell silent. He saw that he was inside Mr. Porter's. Mr. Porter was lying on the ground. He heard a door slam, followed by the screech of tires. Suddenly, the floor ignited, causing him to yelp in fright. Mr. Porter cried out in agony as the fire consumed him. Redpaw? Everest raised a paw in front of his face. Redpaw. She nudged the pup. Oh my. She saw his glowing paws. Redpaw, wake up. And Mr. Porter. He shivered, his eyes fluttering open. Everest? What happened? I saw Mr. Porter. He needs help. He tried to get to his feet, but stumbled, still feeling dizzy. We have to hurry. Well, where is he? She looked towards the garage. His truck is gone. Inside. Redpaw continued to shake. Why do I keep seeing things? He whispered. What's wrong with me? Meanwhile, Everest managed to open the door and was searching the house. She heard a groan from the kitchen. Inside, she found Mr. Porter lying on the ground, holding his head. Alex. He moaned. Mr. Porter, what happened? Everest asked, nuzzling his cheek. Oh, Everest, it's you. He sat up, still holding his head. I was preparing lunch when something hit me in the back of my head. He looked around. Where's Alex? Stay here. I'm on it. She sniffed the air. Her eyes widened. Gas? On second thought, we need to leave. Now. Biting his shirt, she forced him to stand and follow her out. Alex. If you're in here, get out, now. Meeting Redpaw outside, she bit into his scruff, backing a safe distance from the house. Mr. Porter had gone to the back, shutting off the main gas valve. I feel so nauseous, Redpaw thought. Why does this keep happening to me? The fire. Redpaw whispered. What was that, Red? Everest asked. He folded his ears. The pups must not have told her about me yet. And nothing. Thanks for coming. Yes, thank you, Mr. Porter said. But where could Alex have gone? Is your van out for repairs? Everest said. Redpaw looked towards the garage. Everything blacked out momentarily. Not again, he thought. Inside the van, he could see Alex in the back, mouth gagged. His hands and feet were tied together. There were two men in the front seat. He couldn't see where they were driving. Redpaw, hey. Everest nudged him out of it. Are you feeling okay? He wanted to tell her what he saw, but was afraid she wouldn't believe him. He felt nauseous once more and shook his body. I want to talk to Rocky, he whimpered. He ran off, looking for some privacy. A confused Everest and Mr. Porter watched him. "What about Alex?" he asked. "Don't worry. I can sniff him out." Everest began the search for the missing boy. "You're sure?" Rocky asked. The pups looked at him in sounded very nervous when he called. "Well, all right. You stay safe, Redpaw." Turning, he sighed. Redpaw thinks Alex was kidnapped. "What?" the pups yelled. "How does he know?" Sky asked. "He had another vision, I guess," Rocky said. "Well, we have to look for Alex," Chase barked. "He could be in danger." "What about our mission out here?" Zuma asked. "We have to figure out what's wrong with Redpaw." "Pups," Ryder said. "3 of you will go back and 3 of you will stay. Decide who's best for what." He turned back to Robodog, telling him to slow down. Every pup looked at Chase and Marshall, who in turn looked at each other. A series of small barks and whines ensued, their own little means of communication. "Okay," Marshall finally said. "Rocky, Sky and Chase will go back to help. Rubble, Zuma and I are going to stay here and help with the investigation." "Everest is already on the search," Rocky said, strapping into his vehicle. "Sky, you and Chase should fly ahead. I'm going to talk to Redpaw." He winked at Chase, who, in turn, blushed slightly. 2. "It'll be a tight squeeze," Sky whispered, flicking her tail on Chase's muzzle. Chase shivered. That's okay." He looked at Rocky and mouthed thank you. Rocky simply nodded. "Great job, pups," Ryder said. "Rocky, here," Katie said. She placed a first aid kit in his truck. "Just in case. Be safe, pups. Let us know once you find him." "We will," Chase said. "PAW patrol is on a roll." Robodog slowed the PAW patroller down to a complete stop. Rocky, Sky and Chase raced out, heading back towards Adventure Bay. Once they were gone, the PAW patroller continued on in the opposite direction. Continue. Try